Now at 5, charges filed in a reported racially motivated attack at Lake Monroe. New details and reaction from the man at the center of the incident.
It breaks my heart. It truly does.
A mother's agonizing choice tonight. Her son wants to play high school football, but there are some conditions in this new age of coronavirus that could keep him off the team. Her push for change next at 5.
You can just do the bare minimum. You know, make a huge impact on a child's life every month. Meet the child, make sure they're safe.
Your help is needed tonight amid concerns the return to school will lead to more reports of child abuse. We explain the connection and how you can make a difference.
This is RTV6 News at 5, working for you.
Good evening to you at 5 o'clock. I'm Mark Mullins. First tonight, charges are now filed against 2 people involved in an alleged racial attack on a man at Lake Monroe over the 4th of July weekend. Call 6 Investigates Stephanie Wade has been following this case closely. She joins me in studio tonight with the very latest on this. Stephanie.
Mark, this is what we've been waiting for nearly 2 weeks now, to see if charges would be filed against the men accused of racially attacking Vox Booker at Lake Monroe. And here are the charging documents in my hand. Sean Purdy and Jerry Cox facing several tonight.
3 counts, including criminal confinement, battery resulting in moderate bodily injury, and intimidation for Sean Purdy. The man seen holding Vox Booker against a tree on the 4th of July following a dispute over private property. Jerry Cox faces those same charges, plus 2 more counts of battery. He was heard using racially charged language in videos seen millions of times now across the country. Booker claiming the men yelled out for someone to get a noose while he was pinned against the tree.
You nappy-headed. What do you want to call me? About this? You with your 5 white friends?
Earlier this week, we heard from Purdy's attorney claiming Booker was the instigator in the incident and that he, quote, created a false narrative that he is perpetuating with the media. Tonight, Purdy's legal team is aware of the charges and will not be releasing a statement. Booker sharing this in response.
This is about justice, and part of that is going to be the need to move on to the federal level. To stop being just about me and stop being about the nation the moment I chose to speak out.
And we've also reached out to the mayor of Bloomington for a comment on these charges, have yet to hear back. Booker and his attorney say they continue to cooperate with the FBI's investigation into this as a hate crime. It's also worth mentioning Booker held this press conference today virtually because he has tested positive for COVID-19. Mark, back to you.
Stephanie with the new developments tonight. Breaking news right now. The U.S. government has put to death another inmate at the federal prison in Terre Haute. Dustin Honkin died by lethal injection. He was an Iowa chemistry student turned meth kingpin who killed 2 children and 3 adults. Prosecutors said Honkin killed key witnesses to stop them from testifying in his case. Honkin was the 3rd person to be put to death this week in Terre Haute. Tonight, an agonizing decision for a mom. She found out her son won't be allowed to participate in extracurricular activities, including sports, if he chooses to do e-learning rather than return to the classroom. It's a new Franklin Township School District policy. RTV6's Megan Sanctorum spoke with the mother who is pushing for the rules to change now.
The school year at Franklin Central has yet to begin, but outside this building, the football team is hard at work. It's a team that may look a little different this year, as students who choose the e-learning option for school won't be allowed to participate.
Devastating. My son lives and breathes football. He loves it.
Marissa Dobbs says her son is entering his junior year of high school. She tells me she does not feel comfortable sending him back to the classroom just yet.
Everyone but me in my household is immune compromised. My son has asthma, my husband's diabetic, my mother is elderly, and my other son has immuno issues.
But she thinks football would be a way to keep her kids involved while staying safe.
They're using social distancing. When the kids, they're all in their own pod, depending on their position. And if they can't be 6 feet apart, they have to wear masks. They are not utilizing the weight room or the locker rooms. They have to take their clothes home to wash them. And they're outdoors, so that's less of a chance of getting it versus being confined in a classroom.
The Indiana High School Athletic Association released guidelines saying students who choose e-learning are still eligible to participate as long as the classes are taught by teachers at their school. They also said school districts can set their own standards, though, and require in-person learning for participation. And that's what Franklin Central leaders have decided to do.
It breaks my heart. It truly does. I mean, I won't sleep at night because I know how much him and my younger son love football and sports, and he's worked hard for this. He's been in sports since he was 5 years old in football, and he works hard, so I'd hate to see him have to miss that.
She's hoping district leaders will reconsider. Working for you, Megan Sanctorum, RTV6.
A spokesperson for the district declined an interview but released a statement saying their decision was in accordance with policy and past practices. Wayne Township is following a similar athletics policy to Franklin Township. Students who choose at-home learning will not be allowed to take part in in-person extracurricular activities, including sports. The Wayne Township Board voted this week to delay the first day of school from July 29th to August 12th. A district spokesperson said that will help ensure they have the technology and PPE in place to give students the best start possible. IPS plans to offer in-person and virtual learning options when it opens August 3rd. But if you want your child to take part in the online option, you have to register by midnight tonight. If you choose the virtual option, your child must complete all 9 weeks of the fall semester before moving to in-person learning. Just go to myips.org. Anderson schools will also start the school year fully virtually with a goal of returning to in-school classes on or around September 9th. The school board also voted this week to allow fall sports and band to continue on a regular schedule. Washington Township schools in Marion County will begin the school year entirely online due to a recent increase in coronavirus cases. The first day of school is July 30th. Classes will remain online until the board determines otherwise. Carmel students return to class August 11th. High school students will alternate between in-school and virtual learning days. Elementary and middle school students will be in person 5 days a week following a regular schedule. Virtual learning is available for those with health issues or concerns about being in school buildings. And we also learned today that Hamilton Southeastern schools will begin the year with all children attending classes online. Virtual instruction will begin on August 6th and will continue through at least Labor Day. We are compiling a list of Central Indiana school districts' return plans. More are added daily. You can look for details on our website at theindychannel.com. And coming up at 5:30, we'll check in with Franklin schools in Johnson County to learn about their plans. Since March, when schools closed due to the pandemic, we've reported concerns that child abuse numbers are down. And while that may sound positive, those who advocate for children worry it's because abuse and neglect are not being reported. RTV6's Nicole Griffin is showing you how advocates are preparing for an increase in cases as children return to school.
Child Advocates is the court-appointed special advocate program here in Marion County, and right now they believe child abuse is on the rise. That is because the teachers, the main people that report abuse and neglect, are not seeing the students. So as those students prepare to head back to school, Child Advocates is preparing for an influx in cases.
These kids, they have nobody. I mean, nobody's on their side.
Jennifer Hisgen is now retired after 30 years in the military. She started volunteering as a court-appointed special advocate, or CASA for Child Advocates, as a way to give back 4 years ago. Her priority as a volunteer is the safety of the children involved in the cases she's assigned to by the Marion County Superior Court. She visits them in their home, contacts caseworkers, interviews parents, and ultimately helps the judge make an informed decision as to what's in the child's best interest. The cases she's involved in range from child abuse, domestic violence, and neglect cases.
There's some sad stories, and I've come home at night, not trying to figure out, okay, what's the best recommendation I can give, what's the best solution, where, I couldn't go to sleep. I'm a huge believer that the judge can only make the best decision if they hear all sides. And if it wasn't for Child Advocates, she would not hear that side of a child.
According to the Department of Child Services in Indiana, in May of 2020, there were more than 14,000 calls to the child abuse hotline. That's compared to more than 22,000 in May of 2019. A spokeswoman says that's the biggest decrease year over year, and they expect an increase in hotline reports this fall. That is why getting volunteers for Child Advocates right now is so critical. Working for you, Nicole Griffin, RTV6.
Well, to make volunteering easier during the pandemic, training is all virtual, and this month there are 3 information sessions coming up. Only 6 hours of your time is required a month to volunteer. It's also important to remember, even if you cannot volunteer, we are all mandated to report child abuse or neglect. That hotline number is on your screen, 1-800-800-5556. It is staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now to the latest numbers from the state and the spread of coronavirus. And since Tuesday, we've seen a steady climb in new cases. 747 more cases reported today. The statewide total is closing in on 55,000. Deaths have gone in the opposite direction. After a jump on Tuesday, they've gone down or remained steady. 8 more deaths reported today that occurred between July 4th and yesterday. The total number of deaths is 2,610. Coronavirus hospitalizations have been increasing since hitting a low of 595 on June 26. After spiking this week at 881 on Wednesday, they're slowly coming down a bit, and yesterday saw only 4 new admissions. And more numbers from the impact of coronavirus, but these are economic. Indiana's unemployment rate is still incredibly high, but it is improving. The Department of Workforce Development today reported June's unemployment rate as 11.2%, down from 12.3% in May. The national average is 11.1%. In June 2019, it was 3.3%. And this just in from Indiana University, all voluntary workouts for members of the football team are on hold after 6 participants tested positive this week for COVID-19. All of those individuals are in isolation. Students began voluntary workouts on campus on June 15th. Still ahead here on the news at 5, travel vouchers expiring and you may not even know it. What you need to know if you had a canceled flight so you don't waste your money. Plus, another event falls victim to coronavirus. How you can still take part in your own personal Monumental Marathon. Kyle.
And we're just missing out on that 90-degree mark across central Indiana this afternoon, but the heat is building off to the south and west. How that heat's going to impact your weekend. You're watching RTV6 News at 5.
If you had to cancel a flight this year, chances are you have a voucher that you need to use in the next year or two. But check it carefully. If it's for one airline, time is running out. Consumer reporter John Matarese has a warning so you don't waste your money.
Many travelers who had to cancel flights due to the COVID shutdown are now holding vouchers for travel on a future date. But for some customers of one airline, those vouchers are already expiring. Eula Williams and her niece Lainey Daly have been stuck home all year. They had to cancel a dream cruise scheduled for late March.
Before our cruise, everything got canceled, shut down.
Eula says the cruise line gave them credits to use in the next 2 years, but Frontier Airlines gave them vouchers that needed to be rebooked in the next 90 days by late June.
It was past the 90 days, and now they're saying there's nothing they can do about it, that my money is gone.
Eula had over $1,000 in Frontier vouchers. Lainey had $800. Now those vouchers are worth nothing. Now, some airlines are giving refunds for canceled spring flights. Most, though, are giving vouchers for travel in the next year or two. Frontier is unique, however, and you only have 90 days to book a new flight. Lainey says they didn't want to book another flight yet.
We've been watching the news and everything, and we just don't feel like it's safe to travel right now.
After we contacted Frontier, the airline agreed to extend the women's vouchers by a few days so they could rebook. However, a Frontier spokesperson says they're not forcing anyone to fly right now, saying travel does not need to occur within the 90-day period. Travel can occur anytime until September 2021. But Lainey and Eula say a 90-day book it or lose it policy was just far too short this year.
You don't know where you can go. Nothing is safe out here to go anywhere.
Remember, you don't have to travel right now, but if you have a Frontier voucher, book a flight, any flights. You don't waste your money. I'm John Matarese for RTV6.
Meijer is the latest retailer to require customers to wear masks. This takes effect on Monday. That's also the same day Walmart and Sam's Club will institute a mask requirement. Kroger's mask mandate takes effect Wednesday. More cancellations because of COVID-19 that impacts students. The Indiana State School Music Association says it has canceled its marching band competitions for the year. That includes regionals, semi-state, and state finals held at Lucas Oil Stadium every November. And the Monumental Marathon is becoming a virtual event this year due to the pandemic. Beyond Monumental is canceling the in-person race in the interest of public health. The virtual experience will allow participants to still complete the race while observing social distancing. You can run anytime during the month of November at your location of your choice and then submit results online. If you're currently registered for the November 7th race, you can either compete virtually or defer your registration to the 2021 Monumental Marathon. Time now for your Storm Team 6 forecast. Meteorologist Kyle mounts in today, and it is a scorcher out there. A difference 24 hours makes.
Yeah, Mark, and if you're going to be running this weekend early or late in the evening, you're going to certainly need to pace yourself, or maybe just head to the pool like these kids here at Perry Park Pool. A good place to be, and certainly going to be very busy here this weekend as the temperature is only going to get hotter. We'll make that return into the 90s, so a nice place to cool off. As we look over Indianapolis, lots of blue sky, just a couple of tiny clouds out there, so the UV index is running very high as well. We've got our temperature 88 degrees. That's so far the high for Indianapolis. It's also the temperature in Bloomington, 1 degree shy of 90 right now in Muncie. The humidity, it is a factor out there, but only rising that temperature, what it feels like, by a couple of degrees. There's that breeze out of the south and southwest right now, about 5 to 15 miles per hour. And as we go through tonight, temperatures only going to fall back into the upper 60s to around 70 degrees as we have those mostly clear skies. There's an area of high pressure in control of our weather, so we're not going to have to worry about any rainfall here as we go through the next several hours. And as we get into our Saturday, you notice it is a primarily dry forecast, just that isolated chance as we go into the heating of the afternoon. There's going to be plenty of that. In fact, the muggy meter, that is going to jump quickly as we go throughout our Saturday, and we're going to have temperatures that top out in the lower 90s. So that combined is going to send the heat index even hotter. We'll look at that in just a second, but 92 in Bloomington, Indianapolis, and Columbus for your Saturday afternoon. Again, rain chance only about 20%, getting some relief there. As far as what it will feel like, this is the heat index 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon in the lower 90s, but it will get close to 100 degrees for what it will feel like tomorrow afternoon. And as we get into Sunday, it does get even hotter there. Temperatures will start off as we get to 9 a.m. already in the 80s there. We'll have some cloud cover around, but as we get into the afternoon, that is not going to be stopping the temperature. Still getting to around 94 for the afternoon high. We factor that in with the humidity. Here's what it will feel like. Noon on Sunday, already going to feel like about 95 degrees, and we will see some locations where we get to around 105 for that afternoon heat index. So we certainly could have a heat advisory for most of central Indiana going into Sunday. We already have one Saturday afternoon for northern locations. We have a little better rain chance as we get into our Sunday afternoon and evening. This is 3 o'clock on Sunday. You see that line of storms zipping through pretty quickly, so not expecting a lot of rain with it, but could have some gusty winds as it moves on through, and then we'll already kind of quiet things down going into Sunday night. 7-day planning forecast, 90 degrees again on Monday. Rain chances coming up next week, and that will bring down the afternoon temperatures, but only by a little bit, with highs in the middle to upper 80s still. I think the best chance for some widespread rain Tuesday and Wednesday. We certainly need it, Mark. We've got some moderate drought now across parts of central Indiana.
No relief in sight. Well, bring it on. New information tonight about the health of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsberg. She revealed today that she is receiving chemotherapy for a recurrence of cancer, but has no plans to retire from the Supreme Court. Ginsberg is 87. She said the treatment so far has succeeded in reducing lesions on her liver and that she will continue doing chemo every 2 weeks. She has been having the treatment since May. This cancer is related to the pancreatic cancer that she was treated for in 2009, but is now in her liver. She spent time in the hospital this week for a possible infection, but Ginsberg says that was unrelated to the cancer. Still ahead here on the news at 5, Homeward Bound, the incredible tale of a dog who set off on a journey to find home. Tonight, putting some special high school student athletes in the spotlight on the RTV6 Facebook page. Graduating seniors will be honored at the National Football Foundation Central Indiana Chapter Annual Scholastic Awards. Sports Director Dave Furst hosts as 15 student athletes from 14 area schools are selected. Included are special collegiate and courage awards. You can watch tonight at 7:30 only on the RTV6 Facebook page. Cleo was homeward bound, only this yellow lab went to the wrong home, sort of. The 4-year-old dog turned up on the front porch of a home in Lawson, Missouri, north of Kansas City. Cleo was microchipped, and when the owners of the house had scanned it, It turns out that Cleo belonged to a family who used to live in that house but moved out 2 years ago. Cleo's family had moved 60 miles away to Olathe, Kansas. Luckily, they had posted on Facebook that Cleo was missing, so the owners called them and reunited them with their happy pup. Neither family has any clue about Cleo's long journey to her old home. Wow. Coronavirus is difficult for everyone, but tonight at 6, how one organization is helping those with unique challenges get through the pandemic. But first on the news at 5:30, opening on time or delayed, the decision that will impact thousands of students in Johnson County.